Well, hello. I'm getting ready to go camping with the lovely Julia. It's 8:20, as you can see on the clock in the background. This is the night before, and this, I think, will be going out on a Saturday. Of course, you might be watching this sometime later than the original day it goes out, but to those people who are watching it on the Saturday when it goes out for the first time, we would have been away, and actually I'll be back now when this goes out. However, so it's Tuesday night and I'm surrounded by stuff that I'm taking with me, and I wanted to go through and do a very simple video in which I show you some of the stuff that I take when I go camping, or what I'm taking on this trip perhaps is more appropriate, camping in the van and in a tent with the lovely Julia. So we're going tomorrow, which is Wednesday. We shall have Wednesday night there. We will have Thursday night there in April, just before Easter. And then we're going to come back on Good Friday. So this video goes out on the following Saturday. But as I say, you might be watching this years hence. Who knows? Whenever you get a chance. Or you may completely ignore it. And maybe I don't blame you. I have a list. That's the first thing I do, is when I get myself ready to go away on a trip, is I sit down for quite some time, and over the day I just keep adding to this list of things that I need. So I've got the tent and camping gear on my list, stuff to do with the van, the clothes I need, the camera gear I need to take, the toiletries one requires, and of course food, very important, food and drink. So I've got a checklist here. I've got things I need to do, things that I haven't gone. So there's some bits in here that I'll go through, but rather than just reading off a list, I thought I'd just show you some of the things. So as I say, this is just a very simplistic video. First thing is a tent. Now, as you know, if you've been following us, we were given a tent by lovely Elizabeth, and I think David is her husband. And it was very generous of her. We had trouble blowing up the ribs on this expensive tent that we were given, but unfortunately we just couldn't get to grips with it. We struggled and struggled. I'll put a link to the episodes in which we tried to deal with the tent. It is quite funny. Hopefully it's quite funny. But in the end, she said very magnanimously, she said, don't panic, send it back, and I've got another tent for you for later on. In the meantime, meant we were a bit stuck because we're going, as I say, imminently, and Ricky has come to our aid. A couple of other people had offered tents for us, thanks to Lee Lawson, thanks to Steve Mitchell, people who had offered tents. There was somebody else who offered one who said they had it in the loft. I can't remember who you are. You know who you are. Brain's gone a bit dense. But Ricky, here in this bag, which is a lot smaller than the one that we had before, is a tent. So I'm going to chuck this on the floor out the way, somewhere down on the side here, because as I go through these things, I'm likely to forget. There's a little smaller, heavy, but not as heavy. A ground sheet. This was given to me by Steve Mitchell, very kind, for putting over the logs. Have yet to use it. It's basically a tarpaulin. But I have stayed in Ian McCagan's field, where we're going on this occasion, before. And when you're out in the great outdoors, if you're on grass or gravel and that sort of thing, and you've got a tent or indeed a van, and you're stepping in and out, moving about, the floor litter comes in on your shoes, and it's a right pain. So it's best to have something to lay down in front of it, I've found, and this is going to be perfect. So we may lay that down, and if it rains, some of the stuff that we don't want in the van or in the tent, any one time, we can cover it up. So a ground sheet is a great thing to have with us. Now you may be wondering why the hell I've got a bucket here. That's for a little gag that's coming up, and you'll see that hopefully in there, along with a number of items which I'm not going to show you because that will ruin the gag. But also in here is a beautiful 1960s blanket, which was given to me by Paul and Liz, who live in Worthing. Very nice people. Thank you ever so much. We are going to take that to keep us warm, part of the bedding system. Of course, I've got bedding. Now I've got some bedding that's already in the van, and I've got some extra bedding for Julia. I'm going to be sleeping in the tent and Julia is going to be in the van. So we need 2 separate bits of bedding and 2 lots of mattresses and those sort of things. We've got those, they're already in the van, so I can't show you that. So I'm going to move that out of the way for a moment. Actually, before I do that, down here, this is my cool box. So I'm going to put into this some of these freezer blocks that you get that you can put ice in to keep everything in here cold, which will be obviously the food. Let me just shove that back down on the floor and I can get rid of that. Now, I will put the food into it first thing in the morning, or just last thing before we go, to keep the food which is in the fridge. Some of the food, like milk and butter and eggs and dairy, cheese, that sort of thing. But we're only going for 2 nights. But after day 1, by the morning of the 2nd day, those freezer blocks, even in a cool box, will be melted. And I wonder what people do. I mean, I haven't got a 12-volt fridge. I haven't really got space in the van for a 12-volt fridge, unless I could get one really, really small. But then, you know, it's things like cheese. I don't want that going off. If you take a lump of cheese, ham, may buy some ham out, things like that. Bit of salad. Don't want these things going off too quickly. How do you get them cold? What do other camping people do? That's what I want. In the old days, I'm trying to remember when I used to go in a Sprite caravan with my parents. I don't think we had a fridge or anything like that. I guess people buy their milk and their cheese, and just in sufficient quantities for the day ahead, and then that's it. So maybe that's what we'll end up doing, and just put them in the cool box just to keep them a bit cooler than ordinary. But I'm going to Plymouth soon, and when I go to Plymouth I'm going for about 3 or 4 days, I think it is. So I've got to find a way of trying to keep things, because if you know, when it's just one of you, you're not going to eat all this stuff in one go, and you might want to keep that milk, and I don't want it going off overnight because my van can get hot because it's black. So if anyone's got any suggestions, I did think about having a 12-volt ice maker, but I don't think you can get them. Anyway, so that's the cool box. I'm going to buy some salad and stuff like that for the first day, and then put that in the cool box, and milk, cheese, eggs, all of those sort of things. So we will have enough food to get through day 1. Day 2, we'll worry about that when we are out and about, because we're going to be sort of, where are we going? It's in Hampshire, so we're going to be around Hampshire area, and I'm sure there'll be plenty of shops and things. We're going just before Easter. We don't want to get tied up on the Easter bank holiday. That would be a nightmare. Now, Elizabeth, who promised us the tent, who gave us the tent, she also threw in this rather nice ground mat for inside the tent or inside the van, or for picnics and things. So that's a nice sort of outdoor blanket to put on the ground. Rolls up, comes in very handy. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. That's so kind. Water, that's another thing that got to take. I've got one container about that big, which we always have in the van. So that's there. That'll get us through a couple of days anyway. And then as an emergency measure, I've got this extremely heavy bottle of water here. I don't know how many litres in there, but it should last us for the few days. This is going to be a good measure of 2 people using water, not only to make cups of tea, but to wash with and wash up the dishes with. See how much water we actually use, because I need to sort of try and get these concepts into my head about how much you need to take. Am I taking too much? Should I survive with less? Let's just shove that over there for a minute. Another box here, which is going to be for, and it hasn't got everything in it, but tins, emergency stuff like soup, baked beans, those sort of things. Yes, I know, processed food, but when you're on the road, sometimes you just need a bit of a backup. As much as I don't eat processed food ordinarily, it's quite handy to have that, but also things like salt, pepper, other things like a little board for chopping things up, like rolls, bread, and that sort of thing. I was hoping to make some bread to take with me, but on this occasion, haven't had a chance to do it. It's been so busy. Gas for the cooker, plenty of gas there, hopefully, for cooking our meals. Shouldn't need to have any gas for lighting the fire with. We've got a little one of these gas gas fires as well, but shouldn't need to have that. Frying pan, I've got other pots and pans already in the van. A wooden spoon is in here, and a Bic razor. I will shave before I go. It's only 2 days, but I will take a spare portable razor with me, just in case for a quick trim if I need to. I don't want to take my nice posh razor because you know how things easily get lost. Rest of the food stuff will go in there. All the non-perishables and the cold stuff will go in the cool bag. So that's another box of goodies. Now, okay, so that's that. Let's just dump that down here. Today I also bought a new mat for the van. This is a welcome mat or a foot mat. £5 I think this was. Horrible looking thing, but it'll be again handy as you step in and out the van, because when we're going out and we're on day trips and things like that, people are in and out the van all the time, and Ian's going to be coming with us. We may stop and make a cup of tea somewhere, which would be nice, and we don't want to put too much dirt and muck into the van, so we can wipe our feet on one of these, which is great, and also whilst we're camping. So shove that down there, because I want to show you this. This is on loan from Tim Tricker, and it's a generator. Fill up with petrol. He says it should survive for the 2 days that we want, so that we can use this to recharge batteries and also operate a light, which I'm going to have, because this field is in the middle of nowhere. Just bear with me whilst I scrabble about a little bit. All this has got to go into the van, so let's show you what else we have got in here. So a light. I'm taking one of these lights that I've lit today. Oh yeah, tripod, of course. Tripod for the filming gear. Cameras. I take cameras. There's all loads of stuff one needs to take. A lighting stand. These are LED lights, so they don't take a huge amount of power, fortunately. They look like this. You've seen me show them in the videos before. One of those I thought would be quite handy in the middle of the night, or as it gets dark, or first thing in the morning, or whatever, if one needs to go and use a bush. We've got a loo, but it'll be in the van, so Julia will use that. I might need to just see my way. Could take a torch, of course, but I just thought it'd be handy to have a light, and also be useful from filming point of view if we just need to light ourselves. So I have got that to recharge batteries, but I'm also taking this, which is my Power Oak battery. It would do the laptop, which I have got here in the bag, and it will charge up my phones, charge up my camera batteries, and this will give this more charge if this runs out. Shouldn't do, but you never know. So on the laptop I've downloaded just a couple of things in case Julia and I want to sit and watch something of an evening. There's no internet where we are, it's pretty poor, so we're not doing that. And I'm also going to be taking this. You don't know what this is, I don't suppose. I have demonstrated it in one of the videos, but partially. This is an LED strip light that was sent to me by a company, and they've asked me if I would include it in a video. I did include it before. I will include it again in a practical purpose. It's 12 volts as far as I know. You plug it into the van or into the Power Oak. Incidentally, the lights also run off batteries as well, which is very handy. And this will be demonstrated hopefully, and be quite nice to string up along the van, perhaps on some magnets, to give us a lovely outdoor light if it's not raining. But knowing my luck, it might be raining. But anyway, so these are some of the things. Now, what else? Clothes. Okay, all my clothes are piled upstairs, and I'm not taking you into my bedroom. So I've got listed here, and bear in mind we're only going for a couple of days, but we're filming each other. So I like to have a change of clothes each day. From filming point of view, I like to try and look reasonably smart when I'm filming. I think it's important for the viewer. I know a lot of people just tend to they don't care and they look scruffy. It's up to them. So I've got here two sets of trousers, underwear ×3, socks ×3, vests in case it's cold ×3, shirts, 3 different shirts, 1 for each day. Coming back Friday, bear in mind, we'll probably be filming a little bit of that in the morning. Jumpers by 2, these are my big Mary Hammond jumpers. Tank tops, these tank tops, I've got 3 of those, just 1 for each day. 1 jacket, probably a 1 jacket, but I might take 2 in case it's cold, although it's a debate whether I take the Harris tweed jacket and 1 other, which I might do, because if it's wet I'll wear the Harris tweed, the blue one. I probably won't take a raincoat because I've looked at the weather. It doesn't look like it's raining, and I do have a Mac in the van anyway, so if it does rain I can put that on top of everything. 2 hankies should be sufficient, hopefully, and then I've got slippers stroke comfortable shoes, because when you're inside the van, I found that when you're out in a field and you're spending the night, your feet get wet, the morning dew and all of that in and out the van. It's nice to be able to take off those shoes, either sit there in your stocking feet, socks, or put on some lightweight slippers or some comfortable deck shoes, that sort of thing. So that I'm taking some of those. And then the toiletries, obviously toilet paper, towel, flannels, towels, 1 each we'll need, flannel, probably 2 of those, toothbrush, shaver, soap, all that kind of malarkey. And then of course the toilet is in the van. I've made sure the toilet is clean and tidy, and it's got fresh water in the bottom, so it's all, you know, ready for use from tomorrow onwards. Mattresses, of course, storage boxes. If you watched the video in which Tim and I were trying to work out a wider bed for Julia and Joe, we had some storage boxes, that's where our clothes are going to go. Obviously the food I mentioned, the water I mentioned, teas and coffee, make sure all that's up there. Deck chairs so that we've got something to sit on outside if it's nice, which hopefully it will be. A table, portable table is already in there, extension lead, electric gang, like one of these. You know, if you're running this or my Power Oak and you just want to run a few battery chargers, that sort of stuff, so you've got the 3-pin stuff. Over here in the UK it's what we use. Extension lead thing, clothes, obviously, camera gear, phone and a phone charger, wallet, got to remember all these other, you know, simple things. Cooking gas, which I mentioned, matches, books to read, a notebook, take my diary so I can make some notes, make sure you've got the right cutlery, some sharp knives for cutting bread, make sure that's in there, chopping board, tea towels, yes, what is that, breadboard, I mentioned that frying pan we saw, pen, of course, to write things down, and spare ice blocks. Oh yes, I thought take some spare ice blocks for the cool box so I can say to Ian, can you bung those in your freezer, and then we'll pick them up from you and swap them around on day 2. So that might be a solution. And then there's all the food, of course, a phone number for Ian, and well, the list is endless. And how you would put this all into a car, I don't know. It's a good job I've got a van, but I'm beginning to start to think that I'm going to need a trailer, especially if I take the tin bath, the kitchen sink, and maybe a sofa. It's all a bit bonkers, isn't it? Right. That is pretty much it, but I'm sure there's other things I haven't forgotten. But I think I'm going to get up early, I'll have a bath, I'm going to load up the van, go shopping, do all the stuff, get in the van, pick Julia up, and then we start filming. And hopefully tomorrow, if you're watching this sequentially, there'll be the first of the videos and you'll see how we got on. So thank you for watching this. A bit silly, bit daft, bit basic, but I'm interested in what you can. Perhaps you go with a hell of a lot less. I suspect that most of you who do these wild camping stuff do. This is a bit oversight, but we are filming with tripod and cameras and microphones and laptops and leads and, you know, all of that, trying to make the best we can, but in the end, it may be a bit mad. I'll see you next time. Don't forget to follow, like, subscribe, become a patron, support what we do, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Right, let's pack this lot all away.